Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, and welcome to It's CPA Time. So, for our new viewers, I know you're wondering, what is CPA time? Well, it is three girlfriends who come together to discuss some serious stuff, and then sometimes it's just chit chat. So, I will introduce the members that make up CPA. We have the gorgeous Carolyn.
Well, hello, everybody. We're so glad you could join us.
We have the gorgeous Pam.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
And we have the gorgeous Almeida. And that's me. Hey, everybody. So, how's everybody's day been going? Good?
Hmm. Long, long and good.
Long and good.
Long and good, I guess.
Right?
Long and good. Long
Okay.
and good.
We made it through the workday. So
Amen.
now we are here to spend some time and chat with each other. And we're gonna start first with the question. I need you ladies' help. And this segment is called "It's Just One Side." We have a situation, and we have just one side of the story about what has happened. So we're gonna try to figure out and give some advice to this person. You ready?
We're ready.
Ready.
All right. It starts off by saying, "Help! My wife is upset that I went home while she was in the delivery room." A few weeks ago, I rushed my wife to the emergency room after her water broke. She had a very healthy pregnancy, and we planned every detail as far as getting her and all that she'll need from our home to the hospital when the time came. So, when her water broke, we were very organized and prepared. Everything went smoothly. Apparently, we put so much thought into the home to hospital transition that we never discussed what would take place in the hospital. And as you guessed it, this is our first child. My father and mother met us at the hospital as expected. The problem didn't begin until she was wheeled to the delivery room. My wife asked the nurse that only her sister and mother join her, leaving me in the waiting room. She told me that she wanted me to wait until she had delivered and calmed down before I saw her. I felt like she stabbed me in the heart. Why wouldn't she want me, her high school sweetheart and husband of 3 years, to be with her during such a special moment? But I didn't want to be selfish, cause a scene, and upset her. So I remained in the waiting room per her request. I texted her sister to find out if she knew my wife's plans. She said that she did not know that my wife me and that she did not at all agree with the decision, as I should be the first person with her in the delivery room. I told her to ask my wife if something was wrong because I don't see myself as someone who would have made this or anything more difficult and taxing for her. After some time, she responded that my wife said that there was nothing wrong, but that she didn't want me to see her in that state. In the same text, my sister in law reiterated that she was not in agreement with my wife, but that she couldn't get her to change her mind. All right, we're still going. I sat in the waiting room for 6 hours with hardly any updates, no food, and a dying phone with no charger. I didn't see the point in me staying in those conditions, especially being that I would receive even fewer updates once my phone finally died. I text my sister-in-law that I will be going home and let me know when my wife and son would be leaving the hospital so I can pick them up. My wife and son would only be in the hospital for a couple of hours after giving birth. Sister-in-law understood and agreed. Instead of calling, my wife's mother and sister brought my wife and son home. Once they left, my wife became furious because I left. I was angry too because I just told her that we could talk about it in a few days because she just given birth. She wouldn't drop the subject. So I told her that I didn't agree with her decision to exclude me from the birth of our son for no good reason. I also explained that I didn't see the need to wait around for any more hours with no updates. Remember, I waited 6. She said there could have been complications and I wouldn't have been there. I told her that I wouldn't have been there anyway after she excluded me and that the doctors would have handled all complications anyway. She hasn't really talked to me since, and it's been a few days. Her sister still says that I'm not wrong, but that I should just apologize to restore the peace. I'm normally all for being the bigger person, but this has been a huge letdown as I'll never again get the opportunity to witness the birth of my first son. That was a whole lot, a whole lot. This is the question. Am I the issue in this situation? Am I the issue in this situation? So
Is this a husband? This a husband speaking, right?
this is the husband side of the story. We only
Okay.
have one side of the story. So this is the husband version of what happened.
I
So,
want to start. Go ahead, I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
so is he the issue in the situation?
No, definitely not. You know, I know of some people who, when they give birth, they are very, um, very, should I say, conscientious about who was in the delivery room.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. You know, some animals do that. Some animals go and hide when they get ready to do childbirth. It's something there that all of us cannot understand why some women are like that. But this one is a little different because it's the husband. He's already seen everything. So, you know, it's not like he don't know what, you know. So I feel like the wife should have been way more considerate of her husband. This is you know, his first son. And just being there, period, for support. She shouldn't have done that. You know, imagine how he feels that, you know, you would choose your sister and mother, you know, which is still family, but over your husband. There's just no way that I can agree with the wife. I agree with him. He's not the issue. I know he's asking that question. No, he's not the issue. He felt left out. You know, he felt not a part of it. And so the real reason why she excluded him, there has to be more to the story. I just can't wrap my head around why she wouldn't want her husband in there with that type of celebration. And so I would have done what he did. I would have gone home. I may not even, when she first said that he could not come in, I probably would not have waited 6 hours. I would have left probably in that first hour because I would have been so devastated. I could not have stayed because you put everyone, your husband is first after God. You should not have put your husband last like that. No, he's not the issue. She's definitely the issue.
Okay. I like that perspective. Pam.
I am going to come just a little different. Um, yes, I believe that she was wrong to exclude her husband. Um, even if, well, I've been on the other side. I was privileged enough to be in the birthing room with a cousin of mine because her mother was racing to come back to town to be with her. And so I stood in her place until she could arrive. And so, yes, I am a mother as well, but it's a different view on the other side of the table. There are some things going on that, and some things that are coming out of you that I could understand why she may not have wanted her husband there for the actual birth. But I do believe she was wrong to exclude him totally. Um, he should have been there in the birthing suite with her, at least up until the actual birth itself. And then she could have told him, okay, it's time for you to go. I need my mom and my sister for
Yeah.
this. But to just exclude him totally,
All together.
I believe that she was wrong for that. I don't know. We're only hearing one side. Whether we can chalk that up to hormones, or maybe there was some other things going on with the couple that caused her to make this decision. Um, but just taking it on face value, yes, I do believe she was wrong. But I will also say that I believe it was wrong of him to leave. Um,
But after 6 hours,
even it takes however long it takes, that is still his child. And yes, if there were complications, the doctor could have taken care of it. But he, as the husband, um if the wife was not able to make decisions or was not in the position to make a decision, then he would have been the next person with the legal right to make whatever medical decisions needed to be made on behalf of his wife and of his son. So I understand his hurt and I feel his hurt. I believe that is one of the most beautiful things that a couple can experience together is the birth of a child. And I really do feel for him. But like I said, at the same time, I do fault him for leaving. And actually, I believe if I had been the sister, I would have at some point, instead of texting him, I would have walked out to make sure he stayed updated, to encourage him to stay. Um, but to me, both of them were just a little childish in that respect because he could have stayed and been there to take his wife and child home. And at the same time, the wife, the mother, the sister, somebody could have called him and said, they're being discharged. Will you come and pick them up? So I think at that point they both were at fault and they escalated the situation bigger, that could have been resolved a lot easier.
All
That's
right.
okay.
Okay. Okay. So the husband says, am I the issue in this situation? I say, no, you are not. Um, since this was you guys' first child, you didn't you didn't know what to expect. You know, there are some books called What to Expect When You're Expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they didn't, he admitted, okay, in the beginning we spent so much time on make sure we got everything to go to the hospital, all of that stuff. We didn't talk about the other stuff, you know. So that's they didn't even think that far. They've never been through this situation. They didn't think that far. No harm, no foul on them. Um, he I say he's not the issue in this situation because um the people she chose, her mom and her sister, they didn't have anything to do with it. They really didn't even know about it until they got there. So, and then the fact that he waited so long, and I'm 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 thinking from the letter that maybe she didn't want her husband to see her in such distress, uh, anticipating that there was going to be distress, some cussing, some yelling, some all those things that come along with childbirth in a normal sense. And she was like, I'm just gonna be a totally different person than he's ever seen, and I don't want him to see that. That was, but that's your husband. That's not your boyfriend. That ain't, that's your husband. He can handle it. He can handle it. And when he gets to the point that he cannot handle it, he'll come out and say, "Okay, mama, take over. Okay, sister-in-law, take over. This is a little bit too much for me." So,
Mm-hmm.
um, the fact that she's now mad at him and hadn't talked to him in a couple days, she owes him an explanation as to why she made that decision. Um, and I think that that will break the ice and for them to work through this issue. So, no, sir, I don't think you uh, are the issue. In the letter, it did not say that we were at odds, we had broken up, we weren't talking to each other. None of that is in the letter. We only have one side of the story. Um, so I just think that it was not even miscommunication because there was no communication concerning it. It's just that they didn't know what to expect. This was their first child. So, and maybe she felt she was strong enough, brave enough to handle this without him being there. And so that's just my take on it.
So
So
both of
for
you believe that he was wrong for leaving because he left. Now I understand he left out of hurt, but
mhm.
um, but you don't think he was wrong for leaving.
Well, I don't think he was. 6 hours is a long time to wait, and babies take days. They babies on their own little schedule. They be like, la da da. I'm just coming into the world. So I don't. Okay, 6 hours. He's barely getting updates. He's got a phone that's gonna die. Now he could have gone home, got the phone, come back. Did they live far away? Was it 10 minutes? Was it an hour? There was some options there. He could have went to the local store and got a charger. There was some options there. Since you're waiting anyway,
Mhm.
but his hurt allowed him to, go to that level with it. And then when they didn't call him to come when they were discharged. Now, I think that was just wrong.
Yes.
I just think that was wrong because there nowhere in the letter was there any indication that there were any problems um, in the marriage or anything like that. So I just think they were wrong for that. So to the husband, if you're listening to our podcast, you good, you good. You were not the issue in this situation. Um, by a vote of 2-1 on that, the issue about leaving, well, all of us say you're not wrong in the situation. But the time of leaving the hospital 2-1, Pam says he should have stayed. Then
Yeah.
Carolyn says, deuces, baby, we'll see you.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see. That's the advice we can give the husband in this situation. So I do hope, since this letter, that they are enjoying their newborn that they have made up, and they are going along their merry little way. Because it's 3 years married. So
Yeah.
this is the first little bump in the road. It's a big, huge bump, because you can never recreate that. I don't care if
Right.
y'all have 5 more children, you can never recreate the very first,
The first time.
the first birth. So she took that away from him. So I'm usually for the girls, but this time I'm for the husband. I am for the husband. That was a good little scenario.
It was. It was.
Mhm. That was a
It's
good
something
little.
I've never heard of. I've never heard of that happening. Not with a husband. Now,
Okay.
baby daddy, yes, I've heard of baby daddy, but not the husband.
Yeah.
And I hope they were able to patch that up, because she was wrong to exclude him
Yeah.
from uh from that process. Yes. Although, I didn't know until I was on the other side of the table. There's a lot of stuff that comes out. It is messy. Ooh wee. It is
And she
messy, baby. Your
and she may
body.
have thought,
Ooh.
hey, okay, Pam. And she may have thought it was gonna ruin on down the line, ruin their sexual positions, sexual position in the marriage, because you know, I have heard men say crazy stuff like, oh, once I saw that, I had a hard time being with her. But like Pam say, not the husband. I've heard baby daddy, boyfriend say stuff. That baby all that came out of there, so
You see that head,
Yeah.
when you see that head crown,
yeah.
I can't imagine what a man would think, that, surely God can't put that back,
Right.
Together again.
put that back the way it was.
But he's so awesome, he closes it right back up.
Right back up.
So
Mhm.
maybe she was afraid of that, because some men are fearful of, Lord, did all that come from that, and it
Yeah.
opened up like that. So I can understand some of it, but I just think she was wrong. Like with Almeida on this one, and you did say it too. But
Yes.
6 hours of him sitting there, the hurt took over. Like she said, the hurt took over.
Mhm.
The good decision making, the hurt just clouded his judgment.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So
And I do want to say to our listeners that whoever gives the one side of the story, the other two don't know it. So they're hearing it for the first time. So they are giving their honest, unfiltered advice.
mhm. Ooh, nicely said.
Yeah.
Unfiltered.
Unfiltered. So we
And
are going to go ahead. Go ahead.
if I may say, for people who are listening, if you have a comment on what advice you thought we should give, or what take you have on the situation, be sure and drop us a comment.
Fantastic. Love it. Love it. Love it. We are going to segue to our topic for tonight, and it is motivation. That is what we're going to chop it up and talk about tonight. Motivation. All right, so I did just a little bit of research, and with my online research, I got to the point of what motivation is. And one definition of it is motivation is the process that initiates, guides, and maintains goal oriented behaviors. It is what causes you to act, whether it is getting a glass of water to reduce thirst or reading a book to gain knowledge. Motivation includes the biological, emotional, social, and cognitive forces that activate behavior. In everyday usage, the term motivation is frequently used to describe why a person does something. It is the driving force behind human actions. And this comes from the article from um, Very Well Mind website. And the title is What is Motivation? And the writer of this article is Kendra Cherry. Kendra Cherry. So tell me, who wants to start to talk about motivation? It's the driving force behind human actions. Motivation.
My question um
Okay.
would be how to find motivation. You know, that seems to be my brick wall. You know, I have goals and I have dreams. But I'm having a hard time finding motivation in some areas.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the question that comes to my mind. Um, and there are things that we do, they tell us to write your goals down and look at them every day and to remind yourself of what you're working toward. But somehow I need just a little bit more. I need an
Mm.
extra push. I haven't found the right combination, you know. So I'm gonna put that forth towards my uh co-host. Um, what advice can you give me?
Okay. Okay. All right.
Ideas you have for that?
So I feel you. I know exactly where you're coming from. So we're gonna start from the end result. What is the reward? So I'm not always motivated to um, finish laundry. So by finishing laundry, you put it in the washer, you put it in the dryer, it sits in the dryer for hours.
Right.
Come on.
Then it moves from the dryer to the laundry basket for days.
Right.
Dang, you are
And it,
of the
it,
laundry basket.
it finally gets to the closet. Sometimes you just get clothes from the basket and iron them up and put those on. So, what's the motivation for you to do the laundry? So, the reward is for me, what works for me. The reward is I know exactly what I have available to wear so that it reduces my time in the morning for me to get dressed. My motivation is I can sleep longer. So more rest. So how do I get the end result, the reward of more rest? What can I do on the front end to make sure I can get the reward on the back end? So I have gotten into a routine of doing the laundry where I can do every step of it, where I can do from beginning to end, that it doesn't sit. Now, that's not all the time. But when I know, like, oh, okay, I can sleep another 15, 20 minutes because I don't have to figure out what I got. I already know what I got because it's in the closet. I ain't got to go, okay, is it in the dryer? Is it in the basket? Did I take that to the dry cleaners? Where is my stuff?
Where is my stuff?
So motivation for me is looking towards the reward and work backwards from there. So I can use this with food. So if I know that on the weekend I'm going out with my husband, or I'm going out with my girlfriends, and I just have, this is my budget. This all the money I got for this, for food. If I spend all my food that week, when we go out, I can just get a salad. That's not gonna be enjoyable to me when I go out. So during the week, I plan, okay, I'm gonna bring my lunch, which is cheaper. It may take a little bit more time, but then when I know we're gonna go out on Friday night or Saturday night, I have money to buy dinner. So I work from the end. I focus on the reward to motivate me to do the steps. Does that make sense?
It does.
It does. It does.
Yeah. So for me, I have to look at what I'm gonna get out of it. Because if I'm just doing it to do it, it's like, I ain't gonna do it. But
Yeah.
what am I gonna get out of it? If I file the paperwork, I'm not a good filer. I'm a filer. I like files. If I file the paperwork, I can easily find it when I need it.
That's too cute. So cute.
So that works for me in some things to be my motivation.
If I could just say before Carolyn jumps in, it's interesting that you brought up about food, because today, this morning, as I was leaving, I purposely stopped in the kitchen and made myself a little care bag of things I could eat at the office so I would not have to spend money on lunch. And I was prepared. I had breakfast and lunch. I was
Look
ready.
at that.
When lunch came around, and we're fortunate enough that there's a place that we place orders from, and we have a employee who will pick up our lunch for us. When
Look at
she
that.
came around with the menu, it was all over. I don't know if anybody can tell that we are from the South, but I ordered lunch. I just could not resist. I have been resisting placing this particular order for so long. For lunch, I had neck bones, turnip greens, rutabaga, and cornbread.
All right, now. All right.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I spent that money and I didn't have to. I was prepared. I had my little lunch snack, my little ramen noodles and, tuna, pan of soup. I had something I could eat.
Right.
I did not have to place that order. But when I tell you it was so good, so good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna
Well,
think of you tomorrow. Okay, Almeida. I'm gonna think of you tomorrow.
Okay. End
and
result. End result.
motivated not to place another order like that again.
Well, if my memory serves me right, I think I need to mention that to you about when you was talking about how you're going to eat more healthy. She said, well, sometimes you don't want to cut it out all the time.
Right.
Because I
did say
know
that.
when you cut something out all the time, you're going to crave for it. You're going to want it. So, hey, eat it every now and then. You know,
Every
Right.
now and then.
that's our
Yeah.
culture. Yeah. Us is from the South. Yeah, we Southern women, you know, we're Southern belles. So.
Mhm.
Okay, so back to the topic at hand, motivation. I heard you ladies speak about the end result and how we reversed it. Almedia was saying like from the end and go, you know, go backwards.
Mhm.
But now I am a certain age, so some things have changed for me because I was so product oriented. I
Okay.
had to finish what I was doing. That meant so much to me to finish something, like the laundry. It had to be finished. Clean the house. It had to be done in a certain time.
Mhm.
Cooking. But one thing I have noticed, Pam, it's okay. It's okay for your motivation to fluctuate because now I'm more process oriented. I'm gonna do a little bit here, you know. I'm gonna do a little. I mean, that's how I get things done now because of my schedule. So I don't have the time to, commit to Saturday morning. I was up 6 o'clock, laundry done by 8. I'm through. I'm at Walmart shopping for the day. I might go to Cleveland shop. Things have changed. And so now I just do it, in a process oriented form. I do it when I can. I don't punish myself for not getting it done because we as women, we carry us and we carry everything, every burden. Oh,
Mhm.
I gotta do this. Then Thursday, I gotta go do this. Then Friday, I gotta go do this. And I have learned to slow it down some. And even recently, I mean, with your situation with the Bible class, I really wanted to be a part of it. Like it hurt me not to be able, because I'm the type of person when I'm in something like that, especially Bible class, I want my all. I want to put everything into it. And so with this new schedule I'm on, I don't really know how to work it, for lack of a better word.
Okay.
I'm still testing myself in this area. How do I get to do this now? And it's just been crazy. Like I got off work for the day I had today. Y'all, I don't know what's going on with this phone. Oh, I hope it don't go out. And just trying to figure out, okay, we got a training at 5:30. Get off that training. He promised he would cut it off at 6:30. So about 6:35, 6:40, I had to go run upstairs, find some read, find the color
Uh-huh.
and do things. So I'm learning now, just try to be process oriented rather than trying to, just get things done so much. We punish ourselves too much. And we don't have to do that anymore. We have to learn that it's okay. If I want to sleep in on Saturdays now, I'm the type of person, Pam, y'all, I'm up 5 o'clock, 4 in the morning.
Right.
Because that's what I'm used to. But now it's process when I get to it. If I keep going at the rate I'm going, I could hurt myself, I could hurt my mental state. So it's what you're motivated by, how you're motivated, when you're motivated. Motivation is so, it's like a multidisciplinary situation. It's just not one. You just can't look at motivation and with just, like a tunnel vision. You gotta look at motivation in like a 360, or else you'll punish yourself. You'll feel like you're just not doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. To tag on to what you're saying, it's you have reached the stage where you allow yourself grace and mercy. And because of so many things that are on your plate right now, you can only do certain things. So you can only prep something for tomorrow and not finish it. Or you can only make a phone call to try to handle one part of the business at hand. Or you can only, respond to an email to get something going. But you use motivation to get that little part going. You can't
Exactly.
just sit there and say, well, I can't do it all from beginning to end, so I ain't gonna do none of it. No, give yourself grace and mercy. Do what you
Mhm.
can and forgive yourself so that you can rest and start over tomorrow.
Mhm.
Yeah. I like
Mhm.
that, Leslie, that you're able to recognize that your behaviors have changed, and not still trying to force yourself back to what used to be, because you're in a
Yeah.
different season. And to our listeners out there, it's okay to be in a different season. It's
Mhm.
okay to go to another level. That's what growth is. When
Mhm.
you pick up something, you may have to put something down,
Yeah.
Mhm.
or you
Mhm.
may have to shift what's in your basket being your responsibilities as a wife, as a mom, as an employee, as a sibling. All of these things that we juggle, they may have to get put on the left side instead of on the right side. So that's real good. That's real good to recognize that. And you won't be in these seasons forever, because
True.
we're constantly
Yeah.
growing, adapting, and changing. And so give yourself grace and mercy. You had 15 phone calls to return and you did 12. Woohoo!
Right.
Thank the Lord for the 12.
Right. And so
So
that's how you
yeah.
have to do motivation. Uh, it's not just, you can't look at it in one way, and say, well, I can't get this done. I can't do what you can for the moment.
Yeah.
And like
Hmm.
she said, don't punish yourself, because you'll find yourself forcing yourself to try to get from A to Z in a set time frame. And that's where you start messing with this. You're like, oh, I got too much on me. It's too much. And so I've learned, like this morning, I got up at 6:13. Unheard of. I'm always up. And when I looked at
Yeah.
the clock, I was like, no, something gone, something wrong with my phone. It's not 6:13. And so I looked out the window and it still was just a little, how the daylight, I was like, it's 6:13, so I could not believe that I slept to 6:13. And
Yeah.
so I'm learning, stop punishing yourself,
Hmm.
breathe,
Hmm.
exhale.
And I
All the
have
ladies
found
learn to
myself,
exhale.
I have found myself in that uh mindset that you mentioned, Almeida, where, I've got this whole list of things that I need
Mhm.
to accomplish, and it's too much. So, you know what? I'm just not going to do anything right now. And some days, sometimes I'm able to, to work through it. uh that I have done, as you both have said, accomplish what I could, and what I could not, well, I will just get to it next time or get to it later. So
Hmm.
I am getting better with that. I'm
Hmm.
Yeah.
fluctuating back and forth uh from all or nothing to I'm going to do the very best I can, and what I can't do right now, it's going to be okay.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in the discussion. What
Uh-oh.
happens? What happens? What do you do when you're motivated, you're started, it's going good, and you reach a bump in the road that you didn't expect?
that's where you have to, I believe, do a lot of self-talk, which is what I when I reach that bump, because it's like, oh my God, you know, why is this so hard? Where did this come from? But I talk to myself and, you know, and I tell myself, well, you know, the expected end is already there. You may just have to push a little bit harder to
Mhm.
get over this hump or get over this bump.
Yeah.
But if you persevere, it's there. It will come to pass. And 9 times out of 10, it does. And for the 1 time out of 10, it does. If it doesn't, well, that must be uh the spirit's way of saying, well, maybe that part was not for you right now, but it's
Mm,
okay. It's
mm.
okay. You know, maybe we have to go a different route, you know. Um, and that's okay too.
Mhm.
I'm learning that that's okay. Uh, because a lot of times that will make you, when you run into those bumps
Mhm.
and it doesn't seem as though you can get through, you get a sense of failure, and uh, and that failure will spread into other areas. And
Okay.
so you have to nip it in the bud, do that self-talk, you know, and uh in order to avoid that or to get out of that, and just do what um you're capable of doing.
Okay.
Woo-hoo.
I like that. So
Me
your
too.
Go with
Go Pam. Go Pam.
go Pam.
Oh, that was so good. That was so good. And while you were talking, I just saw myself at different stages of what you were saying. When you do start to speak failure of your life, it does um, spread, to other areas. And you find yourself, looking in the mirror, not liking yourself. And somebody put a post on, I think it's my best friend. She put a post on there and she said how you have to look in the mirror and motivate yourself. I went through a dark spot where my doctor used to tell me, it's just like, oh, we got to think about the big C and maybe cancer. And so I was just so down and out about that. And I made a phone call to a relative of mine
Mhm.
who worked in the medical field. And she was like, nope, don't pay attention to all those different numbers that she's giving you. She means well. She said, but we have cancer patients every day. And she says, let me just tell you, sometimes those numbers mean nothing.
Okay.
And not what you think it means. And she went on and she kept me on the phone maybe about 30 minutes to an hour telling me what to do and blah, blah. And it resonated in my spirit. And so I had to get up every morning and look in the mirror and I said, God, before I talked to her, it was really bothering me. And I said, what do I do? Because we do get to that bump in the road. And he said, you are the righteousness of me through my
Mhm.
son. And so every morning I get in the mirror, I say, I am the righteousness of God through Christ Jesus. And so I had to tell myself that for I know at least 2 months before I actually believe it. So you got to keep saying it. And I heard a pastor say something, I'm going to be quiet. He said, give yourself the victory. Celebrate yourself. You got to give yourself little victories, so you get to the big victory. And not only that, he said, give other people victories. He said it's a bad thing for a person to go from a childhood to adulthood and nobody has ever celebrated them
Mm.
and given them the opportunity to have a victory. So that's how important a victory is. So Pam, what you were saying, and Almedia, what you were saying, I'm telling y'all so genius. Y'all
Oh,
so genius.
yeah.
And we lean on each other. I just love this podcast because Reggie, I guess we can still call it that. For the people who are listening, be encouraged.
Yeah.
Motivate yourself, motivate your friends, motivate your supervisor, your children. We motivate each other, and we have to do that for each other. Thank you, ladies.
Oh, and you have to surround yourself with positive people. Like you said, Carolyn, I just love hanging with you ladies and gaining wisdom from you all and gaining when we have to commiserate, we commiserate together. When we have to encourage and lift each other up, we're there for each other. And people have to have a circle where they have access to that type of friendship and that type of wisdom. So I would encourage our listeners, if you don't have that circle, you need to go find a circle, find a new circle.
Right.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Get your tribe, baby. So I asked a question. I asked a question about if you get a bump in the road, but also along with that, when you cannot encourage yourself, when you cannot encourage yourself. So if it's a job you went for and you didn't get, if it's a test you took and didn't pass, I would say do exactly what Pam said. You have to find people that will encourage you so that you can get back motivated. That's not the only job. Yeah, can you take the test again? What could you have done differently if you were able to take the test a month from now?